Well, hey, we're going to get started because if you can't see here, and I don't know, we've got a cameraman, Dean's.
Talk loud, they say.
Talk loud. All right, well, we'll try. So Dean's our cameraman, and we're at a Kansas City Royals game, and I had the opportunity to meet these guys today. So we're going to talk a little bit about their operation, and wanted to introduce Darth and Corwin. And they've got a couple different operations as part of a family operation, but you guys want to share a little bit about how you got started in farming, and we'll start there.
I guess kind of started all off. We're a third generation farmer. Grandpa started it all, then his boys, my father and his uncles kind of carried it on.
Yep.
Started off in Windsor, Colorado.
Okay.
Moved out to northeastern Colorado in the 70s. Dad and Grandpa started farming. As the rest of the second generation finished up college and high school, and then the second generation kind of took off, started farming. Then the second generation, it had been 5 partners, 4 brothers. One grandpa had 9 kids. Not obviously 5 of the siblings decided to pursue some other career other than farming.
Yep.
And then us kids, and come along now it's 2016, and Grandpa had passed and had moved on, and is no longer with us. And the second generation, we don't want him to pass yet, but we're looking forward to him retiring.
Yeah. And you farm in Nebraska?
Yes, correct.
Corwin, you farm in Colorado?
Northeastern Colorado, yep, Yuma County.
Okay. So what's the difference between the two operations?
Well, they're similar in one aspect that they're both sand hills. We're sand hill farmers, so we pump water, irrigate, and everything like that. Obviously, eastern Nebraska's got a wetter, more humid climate than northeastern Colorado. We're real dry air. And back at home, we do some other crops, specialty crops, edible beans. We have a drier climate, so we can do that. And then we also grow potatoes and have a livestock operation. Versus in Nebraska, over there in Bartlett, we're doing all corn and just getting into some soybeans.
Okay. And on the way over, you were talking, Darth, that you've got cattle, right?
The wife's got cattle.
The wife's got cattle.
I hide from cattle.
You hide from cattle. All right.
A lot of cattle.
A lot of cattle. And so what are the challenges? You know, you talk about family and getting in and started with family, and of course that's always a help to get started, but what's the biggest challenge that, you know, family can be a benefit and a curse, of course, but what's the challenge that you guys face?
Well, my unique situation is very unique. I fell in love with an amazing woman after I got back from the Army, and went to college and fell in love, and her family came from a very large operation, and they're known they're from Stratton, but they own an operation in Bartlett, and they asked me to be a farm manager for them, and I said no. I'm Mullins first, I want to farm for my family, that's what I want to do first. So then they offered me the opportunity to lease the ground up there. So now we're leasing the ground up there, so now we have I've just added another 10,000 acres to the initial operation.
Yeah.
So, but it's really unique because the family, my in-laws, they feed a lot of cattle, one of the largest cattle feeders in the United States, and own a lot of ground, and balancing that with the in-laws, and then balancing a fairly large operation, not quite as sustainable, but just significantly as large operation and very dynamic operation from my family.
Sure. Yep. Corwin, you know, tell us a little bit about potatoes. We don't talk about potatoes a whole lot in the Midwest. So
We don't grow a whole lot of acres, but we grow about 700 acres of table stock potato crop, which will end up on your table. It's nothing's processed or anything like that. It's your baked potato that you see on your table. It's a specialty market. It's labor intensive. It's definitely a different cat than corn is, for sure.
Right. And how do you market that? You know, I know, Darth, we were talking about corn marketing and some of the challenges, but how do you market potatoes?
Well, potatoes, you know, you're working with wholesalers and stuff, something to get in the grocery store. You know, with corn, you're working with the feedlots and the elevators and stuff. Potatoes, you're almost, the tighter you can get with the grocery stores to the actual consumer is a lot better.
Okay.
And that's who we got to work with. We ship nationwide, and there's challenges in that too, because now you're dealing with all the health regulations and all the food food qualities and issues or whatever they get to deal with.
Yeah.
So it's difficult. You gotta check all your bases as you go through that.
Sure.
That's a difficult process.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, hey, what advice would you guys have? There's a lot of young farmers and ranchers that work off the farm and farm with their families or are trying to get in, and of course, much like any young kid that grows up and has a dream to farm, that's their passion and their drive that we're watching. So what advice would you have for a young farmer or rancher that's trying to get in or trying to break through or even just starting out?
I would kind of go back to kind of the joke I made prior to when we just first started, the second generation ready for retire. But the reason why we have the operation today and what we're doing today is because everything they built and created and all the hard work that they had to suffer through the 80s, just being humble and grateful for everything we get, and just being humble for every opportunity that you get, and just learn to be grateful. I'm a millennial. I'm kind of embarrassed to say that, but I think our biggest problem with the millennial generation, we're just not a grateful people at all. We're losing that, and I think that's something we just need to. I'm pursuing go, more and more and more. That's my mentality. Go. But I always have to keep my back in my mind, take a back seat, be humble, be grateful, go home, see the wife, see the daughter, be grateful for the things you have.
Absolutely.
And I'll tell you, especially with those family operations, family's your greatest asset. Yes, they can be detrimental at times, and you're gonna knock kids, and everybody feels like they have a right to something or whatever when you're dealing with family. But with that being said, they can be your greatest asset. Garth and I wouldn't be here farming today if we didn't have the family and the background that we had. And like I said, they're our greatest asset. And we don't take them for granted at all. We're going to bust our butt and work for them as hard as they worked and they wanted their families to succeed. And now it's getting passed to us, and we want our families to succeed. And the lifestyle is tough to beat.
Yeah.
You can't beat the lifestyle.
Absolutely. Sounds great. Well, Darth, thanks for your service too in the Army. We told you we were in the branch of the Army, so we appreciate his service that we can all farm and enjoy a night at the baseball game, which we're going to go ahead and call it quits, I think, and head in and get ready for the baseball game. But everybody, thanks for watching Supper with Sean. We'll catch you tomorrow night, probably somewhere else. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You go good?